Welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, a series of conversations with CXOs and business leaders over chai or coffee, if that's your preference, brought to you by ETH. The urgency and pressure on business leaders as they navigate the COVID-19 pandemic has been immense, to say the least. These business leaders have been constantly monitoring myriad ways to ensure that their respective companies stay on course in the new normal. The incredible demands placed on them makes us often wonder how they have time for family, hobbies, or any downtime at a personal level. And let's not forget that they are mere mortals. This initiative by ETH is aimed at creating a deeper connection with them and to get a sense of what business leaders of several prominent companies do when they are not in business mode. Today, it's my pleasure to host Ajay Vernekar, Chief Technology Officer at Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance. Ajay, welcome to the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories.
Hi, Ivan. Good morning.
Good morning. I think you're based in Mumbai, and it's a very wet morning in Mumbai.
Yes, I mean a surprising rain shower that we've seen. Always unpredictable these days.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in Mumbai. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Even I was surprised. I woke up in the morning and it's cloudy, and it's the same as I look out of the window right now. It looks like we're going to have this cloud cover for the day.
But
yeah. we have about 20 or 25 minutes, and let's brighten things up on a gloomy morning, Wednesday morning. Let's start at the very beginning, Ajay. If you were to go back to the early years of your childhood, school, or later college, could you let us know about any positive influences or incidents that contributed towards shaping your foundation in those formative years?
Yeah, sure. Ivan, in fact, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me on this excellent and apt event. I would say a chai event in a lovely rainy day like this.
Right.
My privilege here, Ivan.
Our pleasure, Ajay.
I mean, going back, I have lovely memories of my childhood, and I think I'm very fortunate for that. I would say first and foremost, I still remember the vague times when my grandmother used to take me to nursery, and I used to pass through the Juhu gardens, and I still very starkly remember that journey. And over the years, my parents both working, and I've seen them go the clock schedule 8 to 5, 8 to 6, and pretty much a professional life that I've seen. And I think that builds in that whole thing I used to think of, someday I would be in their place and doing something great stuff like they were doing. Apart from that, my dad used to take my maths.
Okay.
I still remember the mathematics classes that I used to have. While I know I used to hate it, but I used to then love working with him and he teaching me, and started to build my liking to that subject.
Yes.
And it was great. So all through, I would say, my childhood, I've been like kind of groomed into doing things that are right, not getting out of the cycle too much, doing the right things. Not that I did great things, but I think doing things that are fine and in the course of the lifestyle. So that's been great. So I think that's one of the reasons I pursued some of these engineering courses. So I think that's really great. I remember all the family discussions that we had across the table, and we had this practice of having dinner together at the dinner table, and that used to be one place where we used to have very good conversations about things, what you want to do or how things are, and what are the best things that you can adopt and opt for during your life career. A lot of advice, constant advice, I would say, Ivan.
Yes.
And memorable, I would say, family life.
Yes.
My parents, and two siblings that I had. I'm the eldest, by the way. So my younger
Okay.
sister, who's a teacher, and my youngest brother, who's now in BPO. He's also in IT. So excellent memories, I would say. And I think all of us, I'm sure, cherish our childhood. And I think that's the most formative memories that we have. And I do cherish them myself. And I do remember them for old time's sake. And I think they're great memories to have, I think, all through. In college, I think I've been pretty much a straightforward, hardworking, disciplined guy. So all through 10, 11, 12, of course, we did a lot of mischief for sure. And I think at some point in time in your career, you must do some form of mischief.
Who hasn't? Who hasn't, Ajay?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, the life is very boring.
Absolutely.
But took it seriously at 12th.
Okay.
For my engineering, and did my engineering all throughout. Engineering was fun, in fact, Ivan, I must say.
Okay.
All through the 4 years, though it's a very rigorous curriculum, I think all of us think back and say, oh, why did we do engineering 4 years while other people will do 3 years and do MBAs and get well. I think it's really nice to do engineering because the toughness and the rigor and the fun that you have during the 4-year course is just not forgettable.
Right.
The
Right.
friends you make, it's excellent. And I think I've been fortunate to have really good memories of my childhood, college, and engineering for sure.
Wonderful. Wonderful. It's amazing. In the first response, you have actually taken me back down memory lane. Two siblings. My brother is 3 years my junior. My dad, maths whiz. So he was the guy who would take our maths. I wouldn't say tuitions, but guide us and tutor us in that. And then he had something very interesting. He made it so interesting that's why I love maths even till today. While you probably did, he would do something called mental sums before we went to sleep. Okay, and he would have a competition between. So if you got it right, you would get 1 point. Okay, and he would say I'll do 20. And very innovative ways. I'm talking about the first standard and KG from when he started. While we were sleeping at 9:30, he would ask us and say, there are so many birds. Suddenly somebody comes in and kills X number of birds. How many are left? Quickly. And both of us would compete to say, so many are left. So it just took me down memory lane to Ajay. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Same here.
Great. So, normally I get the feeling that you're very easygoing. You just have a very, very nice demeanor, and you're quite an open book. So normally I wouldn't ask this to somebody else, but I'm going to ask this to you. It is often said that it is important to know one's strengths and one's shortcomings. How important is it to recognize this both professionally and personally, Ajay? And could you share your life experiences in this regard?
So I will see. I think these days there's a lot of emphasis on strength, weaknesses, and I think children go through psychometric tests and a lot of stuff that parents, I think, more anxious than the children, want to know how their children are and how to shape their future and career. And I've seen with my children, they go through some of these tests much earlier than what we even thought of, right? My kids, like in standard 7th and 8th, they've gone through this through school or otherwise. And there's a lot of emphasis on that. But I can tell you, I think in our times, we never thought of anything like this, right? We just went through various stages of our life, and as we go, we found our strengths and we found our weaknesses, right? But over the years, obviously, at this stage, I can share what went through. It is very important to evaluate yourself, how good you are, and in what field you are good at, right?
Yes.
And I think that's very important, I would say, because going back my years, and now that we are planning my children's education after a 12th, she's giving a 12th boards, by the way. Because normally, otherwise, there's a stereotype career people choose, right? In our time, we used to have engineering, medical, right? These are the two things, and nothing other than that. Anything else that you do is, oh, you're not a normal person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
or you're not fit for something good.
Absolutely.
But today, I think there is so many avenues available to children to explore their strengths, right? It's very important now that people know, or children know, what they're good at or what they want to do, right, in their whole career. Um, and it's very important, I would say, that you at least know your strengths, right? Because you build on those strengths. For example, if you love, you know, traveling or maybe talking to people, meeting with
Right.
a lot of new guys, new people, maybe there's a different career that you choose, like in travel, tourism, or marketing, communication, right?
Right.
And that comes within you, and you can always build yourself over years, right?
Yes.
But what's in you is you, right? You don't change, or you don't like to change, right? We are all forced to change, right, depending on
Yes.
how we want to move in our careers. So strength is definitely important, I would say, Ivan. At least the main strengths are what you can do,
Yes.
what you love to do, and what areas of interest you have. I think that
Yes.
that would be 2 or 3 things that you should know of.
Sure.
Weaknesses, I think all of us have our own weaknesses, right?
Yes.
No person is perfect. And I think weakness, you get to know as you go by and as you're thrown up with different challenges, either in what you like or what you don't like, right?
Yes.
And that, I think, is a factor of how people manage their weaknesses to make sure that they are successful in what they do or what they want to do, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
there are ways of managing weaknesses, right? There are training programs, there are sessions that you can go through, there are reading books, right, of some of these areas. And you can, I think, overcome those weaknesses to a great extent.
Right.
Unless it's a very different kind of a thing that you can't do. Like, for instance, if you are in a career of a software developer, and if you just don't like to sit in one place and look at a screen and run through the long list of program codes,
Yes.
I mean, that's just not your cup of tea, right?
Right.
So you will not go into that space. But if at all there are some weaknesses around, you can work around those. But I think
Sure.
it's important for me to know your strengths for sure, because you build
Sure.
on those strengths much earlier in your life and your career. And weaknesses can come around, and you can work around that
Sure.
with some help or the other from your teachers or counselors and various
Sure.
ways, right? So
Sure.
that's my thought.
You know,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, like, for instance, it's a very important criteria on which you also decide your career, right? What you want to do
Yes.
in your rest of the life and most of your life
Right.
depends on what your strength is. And
Right.
I think most people are successful if they choose a career in the area of their strength, right?
Yes.
And they are more happier, I would believe, if otherwise,
Yes.
choosing a career where they're not happy or that's not their strength.
Got it. You know, Ajay, as you were speaking, my mind was racing, and I think you've hit upon a very pertinent point. And I'm trying to summarize this, and tell me if you agree with this. The framework within which something is examined or put to test is very important. So what I've got from you is that when we were young, and we had to make career choices, the framework was X. And like you said, the choice was either medical or engineering. Anything else was kind of frowned upon. Today, what you're saying is it can be the same individual, say our children, and the framework now is larger,
Much larger,
much larger. So what you're actually saying, Ajay, is that what would have been a shortcoming in our days is probably somebody's strength in today's world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think today children are much more focused, I would say. Like, for instance, if you meet a child who's maybe just about 8, 9 standard,
Yeah.
what do you want to do? And I ask him or her, what do you want to do in your career? He will give me a straight answer that I want to do
Amazing.
sports physiology, or I want to do, criminology, or I want to do psychology. It's a very specific answer that you get. Unlike we used to say, oh, I don't know, I would have taken math, science, or engineering, or medical. Then baat ka baat dekha jayega. That's the kind of stuff. But it's really evolved, and I think, of course, the more the option, the more is the challenged to take the right decision. And as a result, that's why you see a lot of these career counselors flourishing thereby. But I think somewhere, I must be candid. I think we overdo it sometimes. I mean, we burden the children so much that, I mean, let them have their childhood, let them have their fun as youth, and, and we burden them so much with their career choices so early in their life. बाद में तो करना ही है, तो I mean, अभी तो तुम मजा ले लो, but I think that's a little sad part of today's days. Yeah, but what to do? I think we have to live with it.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Ajay, since you're so frank, how much of a role has luck played a factor in your life, or has it your journey just been about, qualifications, experience, and hard work?
That's a very nice one that you asked, Ivan. I think if you ask me, I think hard work and effort put by an individual is given. And I think that's the bare necessity of being successful, right? I mean, there are, of course, few lucky, or I would say lucky people who get what they want much easier.
Yes.
I've not been one of those guys. Okay. I've had to do my share of hard work for sure. And I think I would call myself also lucky. It's important. I mean, both of these go hand in hand, right?
Yes.
Because you as an individual, I as an individual will put the hard work because of my aspirations or the determination that I have. That's my job. That's in my control, right?
Yes.
And I think that's something that all of us must do, right? I mean, you cannot just leave it to luck or fate, for things to happen in your favor, isn't it?
Yes.
But at the same time, Ivan, I would tend to believe, it might sound a bit spiritual here, but I would tend to believe that the fate is written, and you need luck.
Yes.
Also, right?
Yes.
So in my case, I would say I've been lucky or fortunate to get the right opportunities at the right time, right? Because I know a lot of my colleagues and friends, even though they are as good or as hardworking as I have been, probably they have not been as lucky, I would say, as I, right? Because they've not got the right breakthrough, they have not got the right opportunities, and they've not been successful for no fault of theirs, right?
Got it.
So then it's a life's dilemma, I would call it.
Sure.
But at the same time, what's in our control is just to make sure that you put your best, right?
Absolutely.
You've done your best, and then luck will come your way, or fate is written. So, and I think that faith, I would say, one should always have that, yes, you will be successful and fate will be your way if you put the right effort in whatever you want to do. I would say, I hope
you have
kind of answered this, but I think both go hand in hand. I mean, in my opinion,
right.
Hard work, determination, and everything that you put, which is in your control, you do. And then obviously you look for the right break and the right luck to happen to make sure that your dreams come true. No?
Right. If I were to summarize what you said again, it took me back to one of the CEOs who was my boss when I was in the professional space. What he explained this to me very beautifully, and I agree with you. There is a spiritual side, there's a philosophical angle to this, which is destiny is preordained. So be it. But you cannot depend on destiny and say, I'll get lucky. What he did was he broke it down, and he clearly, and he mentioned this so beautifully. He said, Ivan, when they say somebody is lucky and he's got good luck and this guy's luck is bad, he said, I'll simplify this for you. He said, when preparedness meets opportunity, it is termed as luck. Lots of people, when there's an opportunity that comes knocking, it could be in any field. It could be in sport, say a cricketer who just gets lazy, the opportunity has come and he's failed, where he's being tested. It could be in the professional space. When preparedness, which is what everything that you said, the hard work, the diligence that you put in, meets that opportunity, and you said you got lucky, you were lucky to get those breaks, lucky to have people around you. I think that construct for me made sense. And it's termed as luck.
Quite right, actually.
Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Has there been any change? And I'm sure it's been in your case, in your leadership style, Ajay, from the pre-COVID days to the post-COVID days. And I'm more interested in understanding what are those changes that have happened.
Oh yeah, sure. There has been a change, Ivan. In fact, I think most of us, I would say, and organizations more than individuals as well, because we are governed by the organizational culture, right? At the end of the day,
True.
has changed. I mean, I think one of the most important change I would call is a more affinity and empathy towards employee health and employee family, right?
Right.
I think that has really taken forefront, if I may, say it in one or two sentences. Because an organization normally otherwise, like how we've practiced, is very task oriented, isn't it? We have deadlines, we have projects, we have uptimes, we have TATs, and it's clockwork, right? And then we work on 500 plus projects and teams multitask, all of that stuff, and it's very task
Yeah.
oriented. Review.
Yes.
I think that has changed a bit, because today I think the focus is more towards a bit of comfort coming from your employees,
Yes.
from your team members, and there's an angle towards to say that, are you comfortable with this, and will you be able to deliver to this,
Yes.
rather than saying, yes, this is what we need to do.
Yes.
And the human element, I would say, is a big change. And I think most of, and the way I have also changed is we're more connected. In fact, it's so hilarious to see when we were physically in our office, we used to not connect as much as we are connecting now, right?
Right.
I'm saying that I know it's probably controversial, because we've seen the challenges we've had on digital, and there's no physical connect and all of that. But we've connected more, I would say, digitally. We use MS Teams, and the extent of interactions we've had, and I would say, and the interactions have been more a mix of the personal front, the family, and work.
Yes.
Otherwise, typically in a corporate governance structure, you don't care about the family or what the individual is going through, right? Because that's your personal problem, right? But I think it's become more personal now. And I think that's been a big change, at least for me.
Okay.
And the human element and the empathy element has come a bit more. And I would say a bit of more tolerance as well.
Yes.
Right? Because we understand now that people are going through the jump between offline, online, work from home, work from office, and we have seen now work from office is not easy now.
Yes.
Given the travel condition, the traffic, and I think people have realized that work from home is also productive.
Yes.
In fact, more productive than what we were, I would say, when we were in office, right?
Sure.
Like for instance, in IT, I mean, from over the last 2 years, IT is functioning so beautifully remotely. And we used to wonder before whether we could do all the critical tasks that we were comfortably doing when we were in office. But no, we are able to do everything pretty much remotely, right?
Right.
So there is an element of, empathy towards humans and employees.
Right.
Right. And it's more personal. And I think we chat up much more on personal fronts now than what we were before.
Yes.
So I would say, in summary, I think it's brought in a blend of the human element in our own lives, in even the corporate lives. Otherwise, the human element used to be out of the corporate rigor, isn't it?
Absolutely. What I'm hearing you say is that, at least for me, this has been my takeaway after interacting with so many people, and even my personal experience. Empathy was a word that was used very often in the past.
Yeah.
And really, it was not put into action, if I may say so. And this sad event, the pandemic, has actually given meaning to the word empathy. Like you said, tolerance, getting to know each other at a personal level, families, much more than what we were doing then. So I think the word empathy has been actually put into practice in the last 18 months or so. Big time. Big time. Thank you. I mean, you're very transparent and very honest, and I really love this because it's really a wonderful conversation, and I'm enjoying this. What I'm going to do is, at this juncture, is move on to another segment, Ajay, which is called the short answer segment, which is a one-word, one-line answer. I will throw a set of options and questions at you, very simple questions, fun questions, and I would request you to choose one of the options or choose or answer in a word. I'll specify. If it's more than a word or a line, I'll specify that. So
like a rapid fire or something, like your types.
There is no rapid fire, so there's no clock ticking away, so don't worry about that. There's no pressure of that.
Yeah.
You don't have to justify anything. Just choose the options and we'll move to the next one. Okay?
Sure.
Okay, great, Ajay. Wonderful. So choose one of these. I'll give you two options. Books or movies?
Movies.
5-day cricket or T20 cricket?
T20.
Spend time with little kids or spend time with old folks?
Little kids.
Wonderful. Nuclear family or joint family?
Nuclear family, because we've been in a nuclear family.
Sure. There are no wrong answers in this segment, Ajay. All the answers are right answers because these are your answers. So don't worry about that. No justification required. Pani puri or sev puri?
Pani puri.
Okay. Choose one from the three options that I'm giving you. Samosa pav, and the weather is very nice. I'm getting hungry here. Samosa pav, misal pav, or vada pav?
That's a tough one, Ivan. If there's an option of all three.
Go for it. All three.
I mean, Mumbai, vada pav anytime.
Yeah. Absolutely. Actually, it's all three. But like you're saying, if I have to choose, I'll choose vada pav. But don't dismiss the other two. Yeah. Wonderful. 3 apps you use the most, Ajay, on your phone?
One, of course, I think all of us use WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Then I use Money Control.
Okay.
Yeah. And Live 360 sometimes.
Okay. Wonderful.
I just forgot another thing, which was most obvious, Paytm.
Of course. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Could you name your 3 all-time favorite food dishes? Vada pav not included.
3?
Yes. All-time favorite food dishes.
First, of course, biryani.
Okay. Veg, non-veg?
Non-veg.
Yeah, because there's no veg biryani, right?
There is, of course, my wife is a veg, so don't say that.
Okay.
But mutton biryani. Yes,
okay,
mutton biryani.
Okay.
Yeah. And I like steaks.
Nice.
Yeah. And the last one would be spaghetti.
Oh, nice. What a combo. You're a foodie.
I am. Yes.
It's evident from this answer. It's evident. Wonderful. Hey, which business leader do you look up to or admire the most?
Well, I would admire, I think, the startup folks like Apple. Of course,
Sure.
Apple now no more startup, but I think the way they've created the organization is phenomenal. I think
wonderful.
Really, I admire the entire organization, the way they have run it.
Right. Would you set the table? Would you rather set the table before dinner or clean up after dinner?
Set the table before.
Okay, nice. Very sweetly. I like the way you answered this. Without saying, I don't want to clean up after dinner. I like it. I'll set the table before dinner. I love the way you answered it. Wonderful. If you had a superpower, would you fulfill your biggest wish or resolve your biggest regret?
Wish, of course.
Okay,
I don't go over regrets.
wonderful.
I think look at the future, look forward, and fulfill the wishes that you have.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Complete the sentence, Ajay. I'm most happy when ...
I'm most happy when I have achieved something for the
Nice,
day,
nice,
or the week, or the month.
wonderful,
I think that makes me happy.
happy, wonderful. Behind every great man, there is ...
The Almighty.
Nice. Each day I get older, I realize that ...
That is a little tough one.
Take your time.
Yeah, I realize that time is running out to do something that you had wished for,
Okay.
or some things that you have not been able to do. Of course, this line is a little longer, but not
No
been able
worries.
to do or fulfill. And I think that's something that we all have to keep. I have to keep remembering to make sure that I chase those dreams at some point in time.
Sure. Last question.
Non-professional.
Sorry.
Non-professional.
Yeah. Last question in this segment. Life is incomplete without dash. You can use a word or a line.
Family.
Nice. Lovely. I really enjoyed this one word, one line answer, the short answer segment. Wonderful. You did very well, Ajay.
Thank you.
Ajay, one final question. If you could take a minute to give your response to this. One final question before we bring this interview to another conversation to a close. Sure. What is the one quality or trait that you look for in all your employees before bringing them onto your team?
Well, of course, attitude, I think, is the most important thing, and teamwork.
Yes.
I think most often we find techies very good at their own caliber expertise.
Yes.
But the ability to work in a team and a modest attitude to learn and unlearn,
yes,
I think is what I would look for when I hire my team, for sure.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You remind me of a leader, and this is a quote by Lao Tzu. He says a leader is best when people barely knows he exists, when people barely know he exists. And when their work is done, their aim fulfilled, they will say, we did it ourselves. And then the leader sits back and smiles and is happy. You remind me of that kind of a leader.
Great.
I had a wonderful time at this Economic Times Cutting Chai conversation with you, Ajay. You were honest, you were from the heart, uncomplicated answers, very transparent. So that was very endearing. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ajay Vernekar, Chief Technology Officer at Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance. Ajay, we wish you, Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance, and your family the very best going forward.
Thank you so much, Ivan. It's been a pleasure to be with you in this session.
My pleasure too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.